Welcome back, my friends, to Husky Math. Here's another video about math, trigonometry to be precise. In fact, instead of using the normal unit circle to answer these questions, we have to kind of do something different here. Because here's what. So the question says that the sine of beta is 3/5, and beta is in quadrant 1. What is the cosine of beta? Well, I don't know where beta is exactly, but it's somewhere in quadrant 1. So I'll just pick out a spot. It appears to be somewhere in here. So I'll just put a dot right here. And the line that goes from the origin to that dot goes right here, and it forms some angle. I don't know what that angle is, but it's beta. We're going to call it beta. Okay, so it's beta degrees. That's the angle right there. Let's zoom in even more. And let's think about how we can figure out the cosine. Seems like we don't have a lot to go on. So let's see what we can do. So the sine of beta is 3/5. Well, remember that in a unit circle, the sine is the y value of the coordinate. So that means that the height at this coordinate from here to the x-axis is going to be 3/5. And I thought about doing a separate triangle where the opposite side is 3 and the hypotenuse is 5, and I've done that in the past. But I actually think, for simplicity's sake and for teaching, this method actually makes more sense. It's a little more straightforward and simpler. So I'm going to just say that this is 3/5, and then I also remember that this is a unit circle. Okay, then we're almost there. We know that this is a 90-degree angle, so this is a right triangle. Then this green side here, from here to here, that would be the cosine, right? If we have the coordinate on the unit circle, cosine's on the left, sine is on the right, the cosine of beta is there on the left, and the sine is the value on the right. And we already know that that's 3/5. So if we can just figure out the value of that green line, let's call it x just for now. If we can figure out the value of x, we would have the cosine. Well, what do we have? Well, we have two sides already known. It's a right triangle. We can just use Pythagorean theorem. This is something you could have solved years ago. Well, if you knew all your other trig identities and ratios. So here we go. So the two legs squared add up to the hypotenuse squared. So x squared plus 3/5 squared. And we have to square the whole thing. That's why I'm going to put parentheses around. Because otherwise, don't think I just have to square the numerator. I have to square the whole thing. And this equals 1 squared, which is just 1, but I'll write it for now. And so this is simplified x squared plus 9 over 25. Oh, I meant to keep the colors. Let's keep the colors. 9 over 25 equals 1. But we're going to write 1 as 25 over 25 because that's going to make it easier to subtract 9 over 25 on both sides. So if we subtract 9 over 25 from both sides, we get x squared equals 16 over 25. And now we just have to square root both sides. So we square root this and we square root this. These are all going to be positive values in terms of their length. So I'm not really worried about that. We can worry about the quadrants and their negatives later. And what we get then is that we get that x equals square root 16 is 4. Square root of 25 is 5. Hey, x is 4/5. Oh my gosh, that's the answer. That's the cosine. We did it. We got it. The answer, what is cosine beta? Cosine beta equals 4 over 5. Fantastic. Sound good? Pretty straightforward. Let's try another one. And if you're watching this video for the first time, I recommend you pause at this point and try to solve for the sine of beta here. And we'll meet you later after you're done solving that, and then we'll go over the answer. And we're back. So if the cosine of beta is negative 13 over 15, and beta is in quadrant 3, what is the sine of beta? Well, let's just do the same thing I did before. So I have my pseudo unit circle with nothing really filled in. And I have this angle, but it's in quadrant 3. All right, so in quadrant 3, there's some point, okay? There's some point on this circle, and we have a coordinate for this point. We know that it's negative 13 over 15, comma, sine, but we don't know what the sine is. But what that tells us is that this length right here, let's say we have this right here, and we're going to drop down a height to here, that this right here is 13 over 15. And, of course, we know what the radius is. Oh, wrong figure. We know what the radius is because this is a unit circle. The radius is going to be 1, of course. Right? This blue line here has a length of 1. We know that this is a right angle because we dropped down the height. And so that means we have two sides of a right triangle. So we just need that third side, which we're going to call x. And so what is that? Well, x squared plus 13 over 15 squared square the whole thing. Don't forget numerator and denominator. Equals 1 squared, or just 1 if you will. And if we expand that a little bit, we get x squared plus 169 over 225. 169 over 225 equals 1. But 1 we're going to call 225 over 225 because that'll make the subtraction of the fraction easier. And so for the next step, we get x squared equals, and we have to subtract 169 from 225, and that's going to be 56. 56 over 225. And then we have to square root both sides. So if we square root this and square root that, what we get is we get x equals the square root of 56 divided by the square root of 225, which we know is 15, because we know that from before. And really, maybe we could have, it's okay. And that appears that we are done, except that we're not. There's a couple things here. One is that we can simplify the square root. It is divisible by, well, it's 7 times 8. 7 is prime, so that doesn't help. 8 is 2 times 4. 2 is prime, but 4 is a square. And because it's a square, I can divide it by 4. 56 divided by 4 is 14. So this is really square root of 4 times square root of 14, which in other words means that it is 2 root 14 divided by 15. And that is x. So is that the answer? Everyone's looking at me weird. What? No, because should be negative. Very good. Quadrant 3. And this final step is where many people fumble the ball. They broke down the defense. They got around. They're straight to the hoop. They just got to finish the layup, and they miss it. They miss that negative because they get so lost in solving for x that they forget what the question was and where it is. This is quadrant 3. Remember the quadrants, quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. In quadrant 3, both cosine and sine are negative. So the value is correct, but it's negative. It's negative 2 root 14 divided by 15. And that is the answer, my friends. Hope that was helpful for you. Watch it again. You can also watch it on slow speed if you want. Try to work it out, and hopefully that helps you. There's also a Khan Academy assignment that goes over these things. So good luck to you. Please like, share, and subscribe. Buy my merch. Thank you.